I used to struggle with putting a lot. So 90 days ago, I switched to an arm lock putter, and in this video, I'm going to break down my experience with it, the pros and cons of the putter itself, and some pretty surprising stats from my putting over the last 3 months. Now, arm lock putting became pretty popular across professional golf a couple years ago, around 2021, and then amateur golfers like myself have turned to it as an alternative away from traditional putting. For context, arm lock putters generally range from 40 to 42 inches in length, while standard putters will range from about 34 to 36 inches. With the longer shaft, you can kind of form a more rigid stance, and you can control your arms, and you lock those arms onto the grip, hence the name arm lock. So the new stance and the new grip really did take a few weeks for me to feel comfortable with, but after some consistent practice and some time spent on the greens, it really did become second nature to me. Now, one thing that is important to note is that just like standard putters, there are several different ways to grip an arm lock putter. You can do a claw, you can do a standard grip. There are all different types of ways to go about it. For me, I kept my same grip that I had with my standard putter, which is a left hand low grip, but on the arm lock, my left forearm is completely attached to the grip of the club itself, so that makes my left wrist entirely rigid and basically unable to move, which for me is a good thing, because with a standard putter, I would often open up that left wrist a little bit, and that left to me pushing putts out to the right and missing them, so this basically eliminates that error. Now, as for my personal experience, there were definitely certain aspects of my putting that greatly improved and some others that were negatively affected. For instance, my putting from inside of 8 feet has been much better over the past 3 months. I am way more confident over these putts than I ever have been, and I feel generally solid with this arm lock putter. With the start lines especially, they're much more consistent compared to a standard putter. Now, the putter I use has a very pronounced line over the top of it. I'm currently using a mallet from Odyssey Golf, and that has helped me a great deal. So I just feel like I can really hit those putts with pace. It's a beautiful thing when you're confident over those short putts, because you can also be more aggressive with your 20-foot putts, because if it rolls 4 or 5 feet by, I'm still very confident to make those comeback putts. So the area of my putting that has improved the most by far are those short putts. Now, my lag putting, on the other hand, has been very negatively affected since switching to the arm lock. So from outside of 30 feet with a standard putter, I really relied on my instincts and my feel to get my distance control dialed in. That has certainly been a struggle for me since switching to the arm lock. I think that longer putting strokes for me with a standard putter involved a little bit more wrist action, and now that my wrists are locked in, I've really struggled to develop that feel. This is also true for putting from off the green, as navigating fringe and fairway relies on some pretty good ball striking with the putter and some really good feel and distance control. So I've certainly been lacking that since switching to the arm lock. Now, while my lag putting has not been the best, if I hit a 40-foot putt to 6 feet, say, I remain confident that I can make that 6-footer and avoid 3-putting, which overall makes my opinion of the arm lock putter a net positive for my game, and I will continue to use this after this 90-day trial period that I went through. Now let's take a look at some stats that really opened my eyes to the benefit of arm lock putting on my game. In the 15 rounds before switching to the arm lock with the standard putter, I averaged a largely disappointing 2.3 3-putts per round. Now compare that to, in the last 15 rounds since making the switch, I have an average of 0.9 3-putts per round. So whereas before the arm lock, I would average over 2 3-putts in a round, I'm now averaging slightly below 1, which is a big difference. Also, my overall scoring average has decreased since the switch by 3.6 strokes. Now, I will note that not all of that increase in productivity is directly due to the putter that I'm using, but it certainly has made a positive impact overall. So let me leave you with a few final takeaways on the arm lock. Number one is that I think it's very important that you at least try out an arm lock putter and try out the feel of it before purchasing one. It's very different than just switching to a different head on a standard putter. So if you just go to a PGA Superstore or a local sporting goods store that has an indoor putting green with several different putters to choose from, I think it'll be very important for you to just roll a few putts with the longer shaft and see how it feels. And another note is that if you have any kind of golf event coming up, say it's a club championship, amateur tournament, a member guest, hold off on the switch. It takes very long to adjust to an arm lock putter. It took me like 2 weeks of pretty consistent practice to just feel comfortable hitting standard putts. So it's a very different switch than a different putter head on the same shaft. So be sure that you don't have anything going on in the time leading up to the switch. And my final note, I know that I mentioned this a lot in equipment-based videos, but don't always just immediately buy the newest golf club. I think a lot of arm lock putters that are brand new are going for north of $300. Very expensive, so look at sites like eBay or Callaway Pre-Owned. I'm not sponsored, I'm not being paid to say that. I'm just saying that it's a good option. The putter that I'm gaming here is a pretty good condition Odyssey 10 ball with the arm lock new. That's like a $250, $300 putter. I got it on Callaway Pre-Owned for I think $130. So that's a very good way to save some money when making a switch to an arm lock putter. If you have any questions or comments on the arm lock, please leave those in the comment section down below. And if you want to see more content like this, feel free to subscribe to the Scratch Golf Tips YouTube channel. As always, thank you all very much for watching. Play well and take care.